This is what we call privatizing the gains, socializing the losses. We, as the American citizen, are paying for the effects left behind from the profit seeking of fossil fuel companies. Well, hello there. You might notice this is an offline segment. Today it's September 11th. There's not really a whole lot of news. So didn't do a stream today, but still wanted to make sure that something was going up on the YouTube channel, just to make sure we're keep on feeding the beast there. So let's kind of I'm just gonna kind of jump right into it. So climate change, it is a phenomenon that we tend to kind of still keep having this debate over. Is climate change real? Are we causing it? This, that, and the other. Well, regardless of all of those questions, putting everything aside, whether we caused it, whether it was, whether it's actually happening, let's go take a look at a report from the National Center of Environmental Information on the current effects. All right. The U.S. has sustained 371 weather and climate disasters since 1980, where overall damage and costs reached or exceeded $1 billion, including CPI adjustments for 2023. The total cost of these 371 events exceeds $2.615 trillion. So let's go take a look, shall we? So we have the 1980s. Let's see, this is 80 to 89. 2,000 deaths, costing us about 212. What is this? Sorry, 21. I guess this is 212 billion per event, or $21.3 billion per year with 33 events. Let's see. Moving into the 90s, we saw 3,000 deaths, an increase of about, not super large increase. We're probably looking about a little, what is that, 29,994, or sorry, 2,994, probably about what is that? That's like a less than 100 difference right there. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 308 to 299. Yep. That cost us $32.5 billion, an increase of about $10 billion, with 57 events, almost, not quite doubling, but just under doubling. Moving on to the 2000s, 2000 to 2009, we saw a continued rise of about 3,102 deaths, costing us $60.3 billion per year with 67 events. And fast forward, we got kind of more the modern day, 2010 to 2019. We're looking at 5,000 deaths, a huge jump in between those. About 5,227 deaths, costing us in that decade $96.4 billion each year, with 131 events. So we're looking at, let's see, 67 in the 2000s, and it is now like, well, in the 1980s, you went from 33 to 57, not quite doubling. You went from 57 to 67, definitely not quite doubling. And an all-the-way jump from 2000 to the 2010s, we saw a doubling of the events. Fast forward all the way to the last 5 years, 2018 to 2022, we've seen 1,751 deaths, $124.1 billion each year, with 90 events, now jumping all the way from 131. And in that 5 years, we've seen 90 of those. So last 3 years, we can kind of get a little bit of a better look. 60 events costing us $151.4 billion per year. Last year, so let's see, last year, we raked in 474 deaths, costing us, okay, so the costs aren't in quite yet. Makes sense, with 18 events ranked 5th and 3rd, respectively. The U.S. has sustained, I already read that one. 2023 in progress. So keep in mind, these are the numbers for this year. 2023 in progress. In 2023, as of September 11th, which is today, there have been 23 confirmed weather or climate disaster events with losses exceeding $1 billion each to affect the United States. These events include 2 flooding events, 18 severe storm events, 1 tropical cyclone event, 1 wildfire event, and 1 winter storm event. Overall, these events resulted in the deaths of 253 people and had significant economic effects on the areas impacted. The 1980 to 2022 annual average is 8.1 events CPI adjusted. The annual average for the most recent 5 years, 2018 to 2022, is 18.0 events CPI adjusted. Let's kind of take a look at this fun little graph here. We got Rockies hailstorm, Central. I vaguely remember that. Was this? Yeah, this was this year. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. I do remember this. Yeah. In June, I remember I had to go like move my car into like a car parking lot, like an overhead one. We got the California floods in January. Tornadoes throughout the Midwest and the central areas. You had all the rainstorms in Texas and stuff. We all kind of saw a lot of this play out like per day, but keep in mind, like, you dot these on a board and it actually becomes pretty eventful year. Let's see. Tropical Storm Hillary, August in 2023. Tropical Storm Hillary caused a first ever tropical storm watch to be issued for Southern California, as it brought record-breaking rainfall and flooding across parts of the Southwest. Southern and Midwest drought, spring to fall of 2023. Drought conditions were present across numerous Midwestern states: Kansas, Missouri, what the fuck is that one? Nebraska, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Wisconsin, Louisiana, and Texas. The agricultural sector has been impacted across the affected states, including damage to field crops from lack of rainfall. Ranchers have also been forced to sell off livestock early in some regions due to high feeding costs. So again, we take another look. Let's see. Yeah. What is this? Per dollar. 1980 to 2023 $1 billion disaster year to end date. Good God. Yeah, 2017, a particularly bad year. 2023, and keep in mind, we're not even done with 2023 yet. 2005, I'm not 100% sure. Oh, I mean, wait, 2005, was that the year of the big snowstorm back in the day, back when I was a kid? Maybe. But yeah, so 2012, this one down here. So you can kind of see 2017, a particularly bad year. 2023 is this guy. And again, keep in mind, we're not done with the year yet. So the National Centers for Environmental Information, NCEI, is the nation's scorekeeper in terms of addressing severe weather. Yeah. In 2012, NCEI, then known as the NCDC, reviewed its methodology on how it develops billion-dollar disasters. Held a workshop with economic experts, yada, yada, yada. Also known... Okay, wait, can I look at the article that I read? I feel like the article I read probably did a better job because, here we go. AP, this is what I wanted. The deadly firestorm in Hawaii and Hurricane Idalia's watery storm surge helped push the United States to a record for the number of weather disasters that cost $1 billion or more. And there's still 4 months to go on what's looking more like a calendar of calamities. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration announced Monday that there have been 23 weather extreme events in America that cost at least $1 billion this year through August, eclipsing the year-long record total of 22 set in 2020. So far, this year's disaster have cost more than $57.6 billion and claimed at least 253 lives. The NOAA's count doesn't yet include Tropical Storm Hillary damages hitting California and a deep drought that has struck the South and Midwest, because those costs are still being totaled. Which, you're not going to see that till the end of the year, said Adam Smith, the NOAA applied climatologist and economist who tracks the billion-dollar disasters. We're seeing the fingerprints of climate change all over our nation. Smith said in an interview Monday, I would not expect things to slow down anytime soon. So let's talk about this for a minute. Actually, is there a video? Do we have a video? Doesn't seem like we do. That's doesn't seem. Oh, it's just a picture. So let's talk about this for a minute. There is a reason why climate change is one of the top ranking, if not the top ranking issues with young voters. It is because young voters see stuff like this. They see the inaction from the government. They see the very obvious. Like, let's go take a look at that. Let's go take a look at that map really quickly. Also gonna put this back. Like, this is what this year has looked like in terms of extreme weather events. And they're going to be, and they're, you watch the Republican primary debate and you have, Vivek Ramaswamy, really, really outpacing the other Republicans in the race who just have no interest in addressing any of this stuff, no interest in speaking to these issues. They see this chart and they think to themselves, no, there's that. What do you mean? There's nothing, there's nothing wrong with any of this. What is it? Let's see. Nope. Is it the climate change one? That's you? Yeah. Like,
earlier this week, Georgia Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene delivered this very interesting take on climate change.
People are not affecting climate change. You're going to tell me that back in the Ice Age, how much...
Oh, keep in mind, the idea that people can't aren't affecting climate change, utterly ridiculous. For the simple fact that, well, what do you think happens when we terraform a neighborhood, right? If you want to put a suburb somewhere, there are trees, there's wildlife. There is a certain balance in nature in that region. And when you upend that balance, what do you think you're going to get? You're obviously going to get effects. As we continue to drill for fossil fuels, as we continue to pull the oil out of our planet, does it not make sense that that is going to have an effect on the way that the planet functions? The oil used to be inside the earth. That used to be, as far as I understand from a layman's terms, the lubricant to our planet. So what do you think happens when you pull that out? When you extract that from the earth? It's always been there. It's always been there doing its job, playing its role in the function of the planet. So what do you think happens when you take that out? Same thing that happens when you take gas out of your car. Doesn't run properly, now does it?
Taxes did people pay, and how many changes did governments make to melt the ice? The climate is going to continue to change.
Did woolly mammoths pay taxes? Yeah, exactly. They drove diesel trucks too. What?
Yeah, and like, I'm making her look ridiculous isn't really all that hard, but it's just, this is their answer. They see this and they think, the Ice Age and taxes and Democrats, and that's all they have for this. And it's why they will continue to be unsuccessful in their bid for young voters. And unfortunately, it's to our detriment. This party still is electorally viable, sadly. We should work as leftists. We should work as young people to make the Republican Party as unviable as possible. Because at the end of the day, why, when they see this chart, why do they say dumb shit? It's a pretty simple answer. They're paid to. Joe Manchin, let's be clear, owns a drilling factory, receives money from fossil fuel extractors. Marjorie Taylor Greene does the exact same thing. Donald Trump did the same thing. Many on the Republican side take fossil fuel money. And keep in mind, fossil fuel extractors, they've known about this shit They know the effects of what they're doing. But at the end of the day, what they understand is there's a point where they will continue to make money. And there's a cutoff to that. There is a limit to the amount of money that they will make off of fossil fuels. And they are going to drive us, all of us, every single one of us, you, me, your kids, your grandkids, everyone. They will drive all of us up to the edge of apocalypse. And you turn only at that last moment. It is no different than watching somebody gamble down to their last cent and saying this will be the end of it. Because they know what the limit is, and they know the direction that we need to go in. But they want to make sure they make as much money off of extracting fossil fuels from this earth before they decide, okay, maybe we need to change. Maybe we need to change our energy consumption. Maybe we need to change paths. But this is going to keep costing. And let's keep in mind, let's all remember, this isn't costing ExxonMobil. This isn't costing I'm trying to think of who the other any of the other companies. That's this isn't costing Shell. All these costs, these billions of dollars, this is you and me, bud. This is our tax dollars. You see, these fossil fuel extractors, Shell, Mobil, any of them, all of them take the oil out of the earth, sell it to us at a profit, and when that destroys communities, when that destroys the country and costs the country billions upon billions of dollars in taxpayer funding, we're just supposed to pay that bill. This is, and you've heard it on other platforms, I'm sure you have. This is what we call privatizing the gains, socializing the losses. We, as the American citizen, are paying for the effects left behind from the profit seeking of fossil fuel companies. And we are doing it because these fossil fuel CEOs and their lobbying groups have been allowed to spend dark money in our elections to fund our politicians and make sure that they are friendly to their desires, to their wants. And this will only serve, once again, and I cannot stress this enough, this will only serve to deteriorate the livability for you and for me. It ain't going to do anything for the CEO of ExxonMobil. He's got his Armageddon bunker. He has his private jet, his private helicopter. They're all going to find a way to survive through the worst outcomes of this. Meanwhile, for now, people in Hawaii, people in Florida, people in California are dealing with these kinds of extreme weather events. People in Texas, when their power goes out when it's cold, they'll deal with these effects. But even then, let's keep in mind, the fossil fuels are global, bud. These effects are going to be felt around the world. The first thing you're going to see are global South countries hit the hardest. We are going to see climate refugees. And this will all be because some CEOs who like drilling for oil, Saudi Arabia included, by the way, wanted to make billions, trillions off the Earth's natural resource at all of our expense. So, the thing that they tell, at the end of all YouTube videos where they tell you to click on one of these things to watch more videos. Yeah, I've been meaning to film one of those. So that's what I was doing. I was just setting it up to film one.